Hey guys, Anthony, 4x4 Diesel. Look, this is a pretty straightforward job, but we're going to cover a few of those straightforward jobs as well because not everybody's got the experience myself and some of you have. Front diff oil change. Okay, so going to give you, as usual, it's going to be, I'll say it's just a quick one, but it is kind of a quick one, but do you want all the information with it? People have answered that question. The answer is yes, they do. So when changing the front diff oil, this is a Hilux, so this one's a little bit more difficult than the Prado. So people might like that. I do remember now someone did ask a question, how do you get to that plug? A lot of people ask that question over the years and they get answers here and there, depends where you ask. As I've said, that's why we've got the Facebook groups. If you're in Oz Hilux crew, if you're in Australia, that's where you ask those questions and you'll get an answer from maybe me or maybe many other people, but you'll get answers and there's your information. And if I see it, I may answer in a video like this. So the filler plug, it's way up there and it's against the chassis and it is quite a stupid design and it's hard to get to. So this is what I do. If you want to do it the easy way, I loosen off all the diff mounting bolts, 1, 2, 3, and the one at the other just here, and any at the back, just loosen them all off. And then you can put a bar in and just in here, say, and just lightly lever it so it pulls it back this way and you can get your little, it's a 10 mil. I'll use a 3/8 drive because that's the smallest, lowest profile to get in there, and you may just use an extension coming out this way near the drive shaft to get to it. Whatever works for you, but that's how I do it. It gets the job done okay. Some vehicles, you can get in there without loosening the diff, you know what I mean? But, you know, do you want to do it the hard way? It's not that hard to spend a bit of time loosening the bolts. That's what we do, and that makes sure, it ensures that you can get it out. Now, sometimes these can be hard to get out. We're going to give you the information on this, right? It's not a design fault. There's nothing wrong with the plugs or the material or the size of the hole or anything. You know, people can come up with information and make excuses for Toyota or put it out there to make themselves look good as to what the cause of the problem is, but there's only one cause of the problem, and that cause of the problem is you, or maybe not you, people. Okay, people that have worked on it and they over tighten them. You know, they get their bar and they. Now the torque specification on this, you know, too many numbers. I've just about forgotten. I think it's something like 59 or, you know, all the other diff plugs are about 49. It's easy to remember if you just go 50 and 60, okay? So this is, by doing the research on the Newton meters, this is what I do. On all other diff plugs, I don't use a torque wrench. I've been doing these for decades. I know what I'm doing. They are in and out, no problem. I don't damage washers. They don't leak. We don't wreck bolts. No problem, right? So, but with these ones, you do need to use a torque wrench and make sure they're only done up to 60 Newton meters works, okay? 60 Newton meters is not a problem. Have I ever had this one out? No. Is it going to round off? There's a good chance. I don't know what you can see in the camera. It's 4K video. I don't think I'm going to worry about getting up too close, but I can tell you, I can see some damage in there. I can see some other pit marks there. I don't know if people have hit it with a hammer, but the first thing you want to do is undo your filler plug, because if you get this out and you can't get that out, you're in trouble because you've got no oil in your diff. Always at least crack loose the filler plug first. I hope that's hope you think that's a good. If you like that one, give us the thumbs up now, because before you forget. Now the next one is to get this out. The easiest way is it hasn't been over tightened previously. Now, if it's been over tightened previously, that's when you might have an issue. And a lot of people say, oh, I'll give it a hit with a hammer and do it. Look, if you give it a hit with a hammer, it's soft enough that you'll damage it, and then you'll have an oil leak or a slow oil weep, okay? So then if you hit it with a hammer, you'll need to replace it, okay? So I recommend trying to avoid hitting it with a hammer, but it can work. So if you've got that little Kaon tool, there's a special Kaon diff plug removing tool. It goes in, it's made a little bit bigger. Now, for example, it's a 10 mil, but if you want to get technical about it, maybe it's 10.1 or 10.0596, whatever it is, right? It's a smidgen over 10. The Kaon tool's a little bit tighter. They've engineered it to be nice and tight. They do fit in here nice and tight, and it's got a big flat face on it, right? So not only is it a hex key that kind of goes, let me grab it. So if you put your 10 mil in, that's great, but there's nothing on the face to help keep this square. See how it wobbles around? Now I've been using this for decades. It's you can see there, if you can see that. All right, made in, it says Germany there, right? So it is quality, because quality tools for jobs where you need quality. This gets the job done, and I'm about to show you. I use a long bar. It's a little bit harder if you're working on the ground, the DIYs at home, because you can't fit that long bar in there, and instead of having the momentum on the bar, you're using brute, I've got to get my muscles into it, and that, because it's happening slowly, can be what causes this to slip, and that's not the sole cause. So one of the causes is dirt in there. You've got to clean out the hole so that, see this? See, it goes in all the way, right? You can hear it go to the end, right? Don't be in a rush and there's dirt in there and you go like that and it's sort of halfway, because when it's not in properly, and it's the combination causes, it's over tightened, you're using crap tools, the crap tool's not all the way in there, and you're using a short ratchet to pull on it, and it's just, you know, and you're struggling, and you might even be a bit solder. So the K-On tool sits nice and flat, so every workshop should have one of those, because that's going to get the plugs out in the first place, because you haven't necessarily got time to keep all the plugs in stock. Bang, 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 you need to get the job done. So use a torque wrench, 60 Newton meters. Have the K-On tool. Have a K-On replacement plug or 2 or 3 in your workshop handy. They're a 24mm head like all the other plugs, right? So which makes it real easy. Then you don't have to deal with this anymore. Now, I'm not saying you need to replace this. If it's a 40,000K and nobody's touched it, it's going to come off easy, right? Now this one, it's done a lot more than that. It's a 5 or 6 year old vehicle. We're going to get the long bar. And you want to know what long is there? Well, I'm not going to measure it for you, but I'll show you. Okay, I don't know, is that helpful? It's like that, right? So it's just a matter of getting that on there, and you can see it still wobbles around, and we could use the K-On tool, but I just want to show you by one hand pushing that in, and like that, it comes undone. It's never an issue. We've done gazillions of these. We don't have an issue with it, right? So just going to grab another one so that we can grab a ratchet, because it feels like it's not hand loose yet. I think someone's put some, see this, what's the name, red stuff. I can see it around the plug as well. So I'll give you a bit more information. Yeah, oh yeah, so that's like that. So what we're going to do now is, we're not going to take the plug out yet, okay? I'm just doing a video to show you how to crack it loose, and the next step was going to be how to deal with it if you have one that it's already butchered, and we've got some butchered plugs here, I can tell you that. I'll just grab a couple off the top. Here we go, 1, 2. Again, this wasn't planned. I mean, have a look at these, right? Have a look at these suckers. Can you see that? Look at that. That's some of the stuff we've had to deal with, and that's what it's going to end up looking like when you're done. We've got a whole pot full of them here. We've probably shown you in other videos, so if you haven't seen it, you want to see it, go and check. Like I always say, it's a massive million-piece jigsaw puzzle. You just haven't got all the pieces yet, but you need to start by gathering those pieces. If you haven't seen it, you haven't got the piece. You're never going to be there. Now, cracked it loose, happy days, right? So your top plug comes out, you drain it out, check it, clean it. You want to use a new washer every time, unless you used a new plug last time and a new washer and talked it to specification. And I can tell you quite confidently you can reuse the washer many times if it hasn't been hammered. Now, this is what I'm saying. It's got to be, to reuse the washer, it's got to be like a new plug. So it's got to be a 40,000K where nobody's touched it before, or it's got to be you've put a new genuine plug or a new K-On plug. Once you've done that and you only use torque specification, there's no reason why you can't reuse that copper washer. Some people are going to go, oh, Dud, you know, oh, no, whatever. I'm just telling you, it save you a couple of bucks. You can go get one if you want. I'm telling you, you don't need to. Okay. I don't know what else I can tell you guys. I suppose the next step is what would have happened if that didn't come out. Now, the first thing we do is, we're letting our trade secrets out here. Hang on, I'll go grab a couple of tools, because I wasn't necessarily planning to go this far with it. I'm going to grab 2 chisels. I've got one in my hand. I need to go to another tool area, I think. I'm trying to find my tools now. No, it's not there. Hang on. Won't be long. Reality. Where's that other chisel? Okay, here it is. Okay. Old tools, quality tools, okay? These have been around for decades and decades, right? Now, this is the one that I use, right? You've got to pick your position. You've got to remember where you're going to want to hit. You're going to hit with something really big with a flat end on it, but you need a grip first, right? So we're going to go, this is my ideal angle, just there like that, right? But we need a grip. This is just going to slip because it's flat on the end. This is very sharp in quality. It's just going to cut it to pieces. So what we need to do first is not hitting it like that. We're just going to sort of put an indentation to it, sort of hitting it with a hammer like that. If you can see, it doesn't really matter, but to mainly put a mark in it, if you know what I mean, to get a grip point. And once we've got a grip point we're happy with, we put the sharp one down and we get the nice big one that's flat on the end, right? And a big hammer, and we sit it in position nice and flat, not on an angle like that so that we're only getting the corner. We want the whole plug nice and flat like that, right? So this is what mechanics can teach diesel fitters. Anyway, nice and flat. Hope you got that one. Right, nice cut line there, nice and flat, and a nice big hammer and a big smack on the head right there, and she'll come out quite easily when you're experienced with it, or you've had explained to you really well like that. Don't rush things. Don't get in there with the wrong chisel and start banging around. You're just going to make a big mess. I could show you some other diff plugs. Anyway, guys, that is pretty much, see, I told you a short one, but look at all that information. So if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. If you think I've earned your subscription, please subscribe and make sure you got that bell on so you don't miss the next important bit of information like this. And it's not just a Hilux. This can translate to any vehicle with a similar situation, so it's all good information for anyone. So make sure you share that information to anyone you know. People that want to be in the know are watching 4x4 Diesel. Thanks guys, thanks for watching, see ya.